mention full-time training on court each day. I mean, I still work closely with the Team GB Para Badminton athletes. We've got Danny Bethel in the final, which we'll have in the next match. Let's just watch this, right? That's brilliant from Liani. Just talking about these two players there, we've got differences in congenital. She was born without that right foot, whereas Liani suffering that road accident when she was much younger. A prime example is in the SL3 coming up next with Dan Bethel and Nitesh Kumar in disabilities nowadays, and that can only be down to how much they put in off court to get themselves
to move around. It's a little bit different than Liani, who can, she can feel her right leg or the left leg that she's impaired. It's really hard to make sure that she's putting her foot correctly in the location that she wants to in order to move.
We'll have to listen quite carefully to the umpire, as live score's not quite up to speed either. But you're right, Shami, she has to work so hard. It's the ability or inability, really. I mean, she's trained so hard. She and I were European champions together in mixed doubles all the way back in 2014. And I don't think she'll mind me saying, but she's an entirely different on and off court. And she really is one of the most physically able amputees out there, which is...
First Para Badminton tournament that I was involved in. And now, she's definitely worked really hard to that kind of impairment to be at the top is really impressive.
Let's talk about Liani as well. She's world number 1 in women's doubles, she's world number 1 in mixed doubles, and she's number 2 right now in women's singles. She and Chen Yifeng, the Chinese player, have been battling it out for the last few years at the top of some of the biggest events we've seen, not least the Paralympic Games in Tokyo, but also the World Championships, and they get through to that semi-final yesterday. But also Liani, she gave birth to her when these two met in the semi-final in World Champion. She's been there and done it all already. Starting a family is such a big thing.
It's true, Bobby.
These are real people. We're talking about not just people with a disability, but people with a life. Off the court, and of course,
Liani had to kind of decide on certain personal things.
Brilliant to see. I was watching her play mixed with Ricard in that semi-final.
Helle and Ricard, her partner, pull off an incredible win against the world number 2 in mixed.
Great smash down the line, just threaded down Liani's forehand side.
Quite tight here at 13-12.
For want of style, I'm sure Liani would like to be younger, would like to be fitter, and fitness versus talent and experience out here. I was eagerly waiting to see which Liani ran the qualifications going up to the Paralympic Games. That's finished now, as you well know. It does affect the world rankings.
I mean, it depends really. I mean, in this category, the SL4, there's going to be 3 seats, but you really want to put yourself in a position that in the best particular position in the group rounds, because that means that she could be in any of the 3 groups that everybody is trying to avoid her in the group rounds, and to put themselves in a good position.
Not long before the event really takes place.
Yes, from the second the draw, it's quite close to the competition, and it will be very exciting to see who will be competing against each other at the Paralympic Games.
Yeah, and like you said, Chen Yifeng, she's really going to be the to avoid her, no doubt, in the group stages at the Paralympic Games. But let's just take a moment to focus in on this end of this first game. Liani 2 points in front, 19-17.
Close in Tokyo when she lost the 3rd and 4th match to Ma Huihui of China. So I'm sure this year she'll be gunning for one of those medals.
Oh, it's brilliant. Before she decides which shot she's going to play, helle so late in the court, 4 or 5 times in that game, and that was the... Nice into the match for both players. I think LEANI will be quite satisfied so far. I think helle's probably looking like... winning her home event, the Indonesian International. That must have been nice for you, Shami, the last few years, to see those level 3. But how nice is it to see 4 nations put on a level 1, to see countries like Indonesia bring on other level 2s and 3 tournaments?
A good evolution of the tournaments. When I first got involved with para badminton in the circuit, there was only about this around the world. They can compete in regions, so definitely good for the sport. And from what I know, in 2025 we'll have a lot more tournaments as well.
What to suggest by the look on her face right now. But yeah, Shami, it's great because that exposure in the sport, and really that's where the money is in the sport. If you can medal at the games or get far, that's what we see. A lot of funding coming from the governing bodies, where there's 10, 15 and more tournaments. You're choosing where you can get ranking. About the structure and the fact that you've got more ranking points in level 1 than you have in 2 and again in 3. Is that working so far? Do you feel like it's been successful?
Because from the feedback that I received from the coaches, they're now able to slightly lower ranked players, when they need more development tournaments, they could pick the level 3s badminton tournament. I mean, that used to happen in para badminton, where the players would meet the world number 1 in their first tournament. But with the different,
like you said, how off-putting is that to turn up and get absolutely destroyed by world-class full-time athletes when you've only just started playing the sport? So that's a really good. Yeah, I mean, again, given LEANI time, especially in the forecourt, she's a terrific net player. She plays a lot of mixed doubles. That forehand, for example, then you just saw it from the side shot on her hands. But if I was helle, I wouldn't be playing LEANI in the forecourt, not give her time to use those racket skills. It's a test for helle, it really is. Heavily though, but she's looking quite composed, Shami, and confident.
I'm sure there is a little bit more focus on the singles here. The singles is really the only major title at the Paralympic Games that she doesn't have yet. So I'm sure she wants to fill that gap.
Advantage late in the second, time's running out and LEANI's starting to run away with this one.
That's true, Bobby. I mean, like I said earlier, the singles is SL3 at the games like last time, so she wants to make the most out of this. She's 33 years old, and
helle needs to push right now to stand any chance in this. Match point here for LEANI RATRI OKTINA. Helle undecided, the whole court's open, LEANI's come through. A polite applause.
let's put LEANI here very confident in the game.